everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol battle report for the channel. Today in a 19 threat match, the Asgardians are going up against the Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardian. So without further ado, let's take a look at both sides. So here are your Asgardians for today, being led by Thor, of course, Prince of Asgard, being joined by the two newest releases for the Asgardians, Heimdall over here and Scourge over here. And playing a higher threat value means that we can bring some of the heavy hitters as well as Thor. So we have Hela at the back there, and then also Enchantress. And their tactics cards today are, if we come down here, Weapons of Midgard, Rainbow Bridge, Odin's Blessing Medkit, and Advanced R&D. And behold your Guardians of the Etc. The second time they've been on the table since their update with the new cards for basically all of them except Ronan. So we have Peter Quill, Star-Lord, with his new card leading them, of course. He'll be giving out Winging It tokens at the top of each turn. Then we have Drax, we have Groot, we have Rocket, we have Gamora. Drax doesn't have a new card either, but the other three do. And then, as I said, we also have Ronan here as well, filling out the points. And their tactics cards all very Groot themed. I think he's on like 4 out of the 5. Crew of the Milano, Lovable Misfits, Deadly Duo, We Are Groot, and Brace for Impact. And here are the two Crisis cards being played this week. By the way, Groot is on every one of those tactics cards, so it's 5 out of 5. Anyway, the threat value being played is the Extraction, 19 threat. It's the Deadly Legacy virus, 1 VP for each virus held. If somehow one character gets to hold all 3 of them, they die but score 8 victory points. And then my favourite mission in the game, 15 threats, secure, it's the Gamma Shelters. So 1 for holding your closest shelter, 2 for the middle, 3 for the one furthest from where you started. If you're within 2, you're safe from the end of turn damage. If you're not, you take 1 damage, doesn't generate any power. And it's a crosshair setup. Remember, the Legacy virus has the wrong layout listed on it. It's printed that it would be the same as the Gamma Shelters, but it is not. It's the crosshair across the table here. And I think that about covers it, so we'll see who's starting on each side and be back at deployment. And here we are at deployment. The Guardians of the Galaxy are to your right, and the Asgardians are to your left, and we'll be taking first activation. We can take a look at where they've deployed, also who has Winging It tokens for the Guardians. So Ronan's got it down here next to Drax. Star-Lord up here, he has flight, so it's not really concerned that he's starting on a building. He's got a Winging It token. Rocket and Groot are right there. Gamora is over there, and she's got a Winging It token too. We come over here. Thor is right on the edge of a table down here, but the rest of the Asgardians are basically just in a line, gunning for those Gamma Shelters. Hela, Scourge, Heimdall, and an Enchantress there, kind of blocked by that, but she also has flight, so she can just go right on over. So with that, we are ready to jump into battle round 1. So it was Thor himself that got the game started for both sides. He moved up medium twice, just within 1 of the Legacy virus that was in front of the car here, paid 1 of his 2 power he has for being an Asgardian, and picked it up. Gamora got the Guardians of the Galaxy, started off pretty much the same move for her, except she moves long, but she still couldn't make it to the objective to pick up the Legacy Cure there for 1 power and then make it back to the safety of a Gamma Shelter. So much like Thor, she's going to be taking 1 damage guaranteed at the end of the turn. Just to quickly go over what the Winging It tokens do now, in case you aren't aware with Star-Lord's new card. It's essentially the same thing, you just don't need to waste his tactics card to get them. During a modified dice step, you can absorb the token to get 2 rerolls. Simple as that. Scourge activated for the Asgardians, moved up once just to get himself on the far side of their closest Gamma Shelter right there. Still within 1 to be holding it as well, but not doing anything else with his other action. He's kind of being the backline objective setter. Ronan activated, and rather than choosing the safety of a Gamma Shelter, moved up medium to put Thor in range for his Universal Weapon 5 dice energy. On a wild, it does an optional push plus shock. Didn't get the wild. He used up his Winging It token to try for more hits. Got 2 through, which Thor has blocked successfully on his 4 energy defense. Hela activated, and she decided to be the brave one. She moved twice. I don't know if she has flight, but it doesn't matter. She went round anyway, hopped the little fence there, and is controlling the central Gamma Shelter and paid 1 of her 2 power to pick up the Legacy Cure there. So that's all the Legacy Cures claimed. Thor has 1, she has 1, and Gamora has 1. Rocket Raccoon activated, moved up just enough that he was controlling the central objective for, well, not central, sorry, the objective closest to the Guardians deployment zone. Then decided to crack out that plasma rifle and fire it at Hela, saying he can see over the wall because it's also size 1 and so is he. He shot it at her and he actually did pretty well with it, got 2 through for just 2 flat damage and 2 power generated on both sides. Heimdall activated and moved up to support Hela a little bit, moving medium twice forwards. but he's actually not controlling the central objective there. He's close enough to it that he won't take damage from the gamma waves, but he is not helping Hela, so it's still just one Asgardian holding that central gamma shower. Well, Groot activated, and it was one of those turns where you're like, oh, it's that kind of game, is it? Moved up small to the far side of the closest gamma shower, helping Rocket control it. Then he did his range 3 strike, 5 dice. Every attack so far has been 5 dice. But 5 dice into Hela. She absolutely whiffed her defense roll from 4 hits coming in. Heimdall tried to save her by spending 2 on All-Seeing Eye, giving her 2 dice rerolls. Nothing, so exactly enough went through that she's dazed. That is garbage. And she dropped her Infinity Formula, the Legacy Cure within 2 right there. Groot can't quite reach it, didn't have any power to pick it. Well, no, actually he does have power now, but either way, he can't reach it currently. But yeah, Hela going down like that is rough. Well, with just Enchantress left to go, the Asgardians actually decided to pass because she can't get close enough to pick up that dropped serum before anyone else. So it was back over to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Peter activated Star-Lord from up here in the building. He has flight, so he just kind of hopped. And he is now the only one contesting that, well, holding that middle gamma shower, because Heimdall was not close enough. He paid 1 power and picked up the Legacy Virus Cure that Hela unfortunately dropped. She should have lived much longer. She has 4s across the board for defense and 6 health. That could be the game right there in turn 1, honestly. Alright, it's exceptionally tight positioning, but because Enchantress has fly, she could actually move medium twice to get right over this building here and fit herself in there. She still wouldn't have been close enough to pick up the cure, but she is close enough that she's now contesting that middle gamma shower at the very least to try and deny some points. But yeah, very, very tight movement by trying to measure the medium move across this building there. And last activation for the first round, Drax, he just medium moved towards the brawl that's going to happen in the centre. He's close enough that he won't take damage at the end of a turn, but not close enough to help contest, so it did end with a draw. But we'll cover that properly as we go over the points for the first round. So at the end of Battle Round 1, losing Hela, or dazing her that early is really, really rough. That puts the Asgardians on the back step right from the off. But to go over the points quickly, Star-Lord's got a cure, Gamora's got a cure, that's 2 VP for the Guardians of the Galaxy right there, and they are holding their home gamma shower for 1 more, so that takes them to 3. The Asgardians have 1 cure on Thor, who is down here, and they also hold their home gamma shower with Scourge over there, so they have 2. So 3 plays 2. The Asgardians still hold first activation for next turn, but Gamora and Thor and Ronan all take 1 damage at this point for not being within a gamma shower as the gamma radiation sweeps across the map. So to get round 2 started, we're going to quickly show off who has the Winging It tokens. It's Drax, Star-Lord and Rocket. However, also, for those of you who might have been keeping track closely of the power situation, you might have noticed that Hela could have saved herself with Odin's Blessing. Forgot that she started with 2 power, not 1. She picked up a cure, obviously, so that spent 1 to do that. She got hit for 2 damage and then got hit for 4 damage. The 2 damage would have given her enough power at that point for the 4 damage to bring it down to 1 with Odin's Blessing. Forgot she started with 2 though, so thought she only had 2 when she requires 3 to use the card. Not going back to correct it because that's just a general missed opportunity. Means the card is held for the future, but yeah, there was actually a way to save her there. But it is still ridiculous that her 4 defense dice with 2 rerolls from Heimdall resulted in nothing. Well, despite everything that happened, Hela activated because she had a lot of power to play with. She started just by doing her basic attack on Peter, who did not use his Winging It token, expecting a big hit coming in afterwards, although ironically it was the free attack, such as the Wave of Crisis Protocol, that did more damage. He took 3 damage from her basic hit, she got a wild, so he also is bleeding. Then she spent for 4 on Reign of Hell, which is on a wild also does explosives, so Drax took 1 damage from the explosive proc on a wild. But the actual attack was rubbish, only 2 successes, and Peter just rolled normal defense dice, didn't use his Winging It token, blocked 1 there. So in total he's taking 4 damage and is bleeding, so he's getting a little bit close to being dazed. And yeah, ironically he should have used that Winging It token on the basic attack because it did so much better than the 4 power spender. Well, we're staying around the centre as you often do when playing Gamma Shelters. When Peter activated, spent 2 on hit and run and shot into Hela. She managed to fully block, that's a first. And then he retreated medium back here onto the back Gamma Shower closest to the Guardian's deployment line, and for his other action he shook his bleed. And so he's still sitting on that Winging It token for defense purposes. He backed off next to Groot and Rocket for some defense, But yeah, gave up control of the middle for now to the Asgardians. Enchantress decided it was time to show them who they were dealing with. She spent her first action to move around the corner there so she could actually see them. Then she used her Spurned Affection, her basic attack, 5 dice energy, beam 3, and positioned it such that it hit Groot and Star-Lord. Only did 1 to Groot, not much, but it did 2 to Peter, and that was despite him getting some rerolls from that wing token of his. It was enough to daze him with what he had left on him. So he dropped the Legacy Cure he was holding, and she paid 1 to pick it up. She wasn't done yet though. She then spent 3, I think, 2 or 3, on Siren's Call to tell Drax to take a walk. Moved him, advanced him small away from there, so he's going to have to waste an action getting in if he wants to. So Rocket Raccoon activated for the Guardians next, and he and Groot both spent 2 so he could do Deadly Duo, which is not in focus. There we go. I think. Flip it over real quick. Hopefully the text is actually in focus. There we go. During Rocket Raccoon's activation, if he is within 2 of ally Groot, they can both spend 2 to play this card. He can immediately perform up to 3 Plasma Rifle attacks. Each must target a different character. And his Plasma Rifle's got range 5, so he could reach Enchantress, Hela, and Heimdall. He eventually, well, let's go through it in order. First he went after Enchantress. He spent 2 extra power to make her use her 2 normal defense rather than 5 Mystic. Did 3 with that. Tried it on Hela. Used his Winging It token there to try and make damage get through. She fully blocked it. Heimdall did not do well. He took 3 damage from it. So then he wasn't done. He shot his gun at Enchantress as his other activation, and that got through for 2. She's alive on 1 health. So she's hanging in there by a thread. Heimdall activated for the Asgardians, and he only ended up using 1 of his actions, but he did quite a lot. He moved to kind of block the objective a little bit for a start. Then he spent 2 to heal Enchantress for 3 with Medpack. So that is Medpack out of there, out of focus, and out of there. There we go. There's the text if you want to read it real quick. Then he also spent 1 on the Asgardian Leadership Affiliation bonus from Thor to heal himself for 1. And that is it. He's sitting on 2 power. He positioned himself such that it's awkward to get to the Gamma Shelter in the middle to try and retain some points, try and keep Enchantress alive, and he has enough power left over that if someone moves within 2 of him, he can get a free strike against them. Well, in an effort to try and force some retaliation, Gamora activated and moved long twice, coming around the flank of the table here, right into the back objective. The closest to this Guardian side, Gamma Shelter, is worth 3 to the Guardians of the Galaxy, and she is now contesting it. So currently it's earning nothing, and she is going to have to weather the storm from Scourge at the very least. But that forces the Asgardians to stop preying on the middle so much. Thor activated from up on the side of the table there next to Ronan and moved medium once, and then his goal was to chuck his hammer at Gamora, but she has stealth, so even though it's range 5, he can't see her outside of range 3. So he just medium moved again, not close enough to contest that back shelter there on his deployment side. He is safe from the gamma radiation, but yeah, it's still a draw between Gamora and Scourge currently. He did pay 1 power for the Asgardian Leadership bonus though to clear the 1 damage he took from the gamma radiation in turn 1. So there's been some more shuffling in the middle, so let's cover it step by step. Drax moved in to where you can see him, and then Heimdall spent 2 on Forfend to get a free strike on him, rolled 3 blanks, 2 skulls. So nothing there. Then Drax paid 3 for the Destroyer to pick Heimdall up and chuck him away, so that's why he's over there. Then he just did his basic strike on Enchantress, didn't have enough power left over to force her to use bad defense. He did make use of his Winging It token at this point, and did manage to get 2 damage through to her and a bleed. So thanks to her being healed though, that's her back up to 4 damage, so she's got 2 left. And it's still 2 versus, well actually no, it's 1 versus 1 healthy character currently holding the point. So we'll see what changes as we end near the end of the turn. So it was over to Scourge to end off the second battle round for the Asgardians. He did 2 basic attacks on Gamora, and prior to his turn, with only 1 exception, every attack dice roll has been 5 dice. So the only exception was Hela's Reign of Hell, which I think was 7 or 8. Either way, his basic strike is 6 dice, so he's very powerful. So he did 2 of those on Gamora. The first one got through to her for 2 damage. On the second though, she had enough power to spend on Martial Prowess, so she was rolling 5 defense dice, and if it does no damage, she does 2 damage to her attacker, which is exactly what happened. So Scourge kind of got as good as he gave there, and unfortunately couldn't shift her or daze her, so it's a draw there still. No Asgardians left to go. It's over to Groot and Ronan. So we can cover those final 2 activations for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan just moved up twice in order to help control the central gamma shelter there. For Groot, he stayed where he was. He spent 3 on We Are Groot to do a little bit of healing once Ronan moved in. So he spends 3, and then he and any allied characters within 4 remove 2 damage. So he fully healed, Ronan fully healed, and Drax fully healed. For his actual turn, he attacked with a basic strike against Enchantress, paid the 2 power, so she was using only 2 defense dice, got her for 5. She only had 2 health left, so she's dazed. And, oh yeah, she dropped the one of the legacy cures, forgot about that. So, does Groot have any power left? He doesn't! Oh no! Oh wait, no, he would have generated power on the attack, yeah. He'll spend one of that to pick up the legacy cure as well, and that takes us to scoring for round 2. So then Battle Round 2, that was another rough round for the Asgardians, unfortunately. The Guardians hold 2 of the, I keep on saying Infinity Serums, it's the Deadly Legacy Virus cures for 2 victory points. Groot picked up one right at the end there, and Gamora has the other. They hold their own home shelter over there, and they have majority on the middle, so that's 3 more gained there, taking them up to a total of 8 victory points. The Asgardians, it's a draw unfortunately, their home objective there, their home gamma shelter, so they gained nothing there, and they only hold 1 cure, which Thor is holding, so they only gained 1 victory point, taking them to 3. So 8 plays 3, the Asgardians still have priority in turn 3, and as far as damage from gamma waves as they sweep across the map, Heimdall is the only one getting hit by it, and Enchantress is flipping her card. So is Quill though. Well, to get Battle Round 3 started, the God of Thunder decided to take matters into his own hands, unleashing a 6 dice physical strike on Gamora, who did pay 2 for martial prowess. It did not save her, it did 3 damage and dazed her. He then paid 1 to pick up the the Legacy Virus sample that she was holding, so he's now holding on to 2. Then he spent 1 more power to chuck his hammer over the fence there, into the back of Drax's head. Drax took 4 damage, reduced down to 3 because of his I can take it roll, which just reduces damage received by 1 to a minimum of 1, and applied shock to him as well. Oh, and we totally forgot to hand out wing it tokens to the Guardians this turn, which may have made a difference on Gamora or Drax's roll. Can't go back now, the dice aren't there to see if the rerolls would have made any difference. They've just been distributed now. Peter has 1, Rocket has 1, and Ronan has 1. So Drax activated for the Guardians of the Galaxy, spending 3 power on Titan Killer. It's only 3 dice physical, but you add on dice for every point of damage he's suffering. So it's actually a 6 dice physical, has a throw built in, doesn't matter. He did it on Hela, and he spiked on his attempt. It did 5 damage, however she, at this point, spent 3 on Odin's Blessing to reduce that down to 1 damage. So it isn't limited to once per turn, and he had 6 power in total, so he spent 3 again to do the exact same thing. This one did 3 damage. Hela's defense roll was pathetic, and apparently she just wants to die, because that's her gone. She did not have enough tokens, because her dazing doesn't generate one, and only 2 other people have, so she didn't have enough to revive herself at full health on her wounded side, and she only has 4, so yeah, that's her gone. She is sucked this entire match, but oh well, she's gone now. Enchantress activated and was sitting on a bunch of power which she decided to make use of. She spent a total of 6 on 2 Enthralls, 7 dice Mystic, and based on the number of wild you get, it does more stuff. 1 wild equals slow, 2 equals add on a stun, 3 equals add on a stagger. Did them both on Groot. The first one did 3 with a slow and a stun. The second one had exactly 0 wilds in the roll, but was actually pretty decent, and did 4 damage to him. So in total that's 7, so he actually did get dazed from full health. Cost 6 power, and then she also spent 1 more to pick up the virus cure he was holding on to. So now these Guardians do hold all 3, but not on the same character, but at least they're starting to come back. She's already on her dazed side though, she's not exactly super tough. She only has enough power left over to buff. Oh wait, no, it's people spend 2 more on her. Ronan could definitely do that, so it's probably not safe in her hands, but getting Groot out of the way for a turn is pretty good. Well, things are going from bad to worse for these Guardians. Ronan activated. He just did 2 of his basic attacks, which do have optional throws on wows, but that doesn't matter. He paid 2 power both times to make sure Enchantress had to use 2 defense dice. The first one did 4 damage. I actually totally forgot he also had a winging it token. He didn't need it. He did 4 with the first one, 2 with the second one. She has 5 health on her wounded side, her dazed side. So she's off the table as well, which means there's 3 Asgardians left. And she also dropped the cure she was holding, which Ronan has paid 1 to pick up. So Heimdall activated, and this round is basically a wash. The whole game could be for the Asgardians, but this round for sure is. So he decided to try and take advantage of Groot being dazed, go after Rocket, try and get him as well. So he moved medium, over to Rocket over there, attacked him. Rocket didn't even use his Winging token because the 2 dice he was rolling were successes. Still took 2 damage though, not enough to daze him. Heimdall's just within 2 but not contesting, but he's safe from the Gamma Waves. Oh, he did pay 1 for the Asgardian affiliation bonus to heal 1 damage, so he's up to 2, or he has 2 on him. But now to end off the turn, thanks to Gamora being dazed, oh, you know what, Scourge hasn't gone yet either, totally forgot about that. And he doesn't just stay back there because of Gamora being dazed. So there is something he could do, but for now though, Rocket or Star-Lord. So Star-Lord activated out of those 2, turned him just to show where he was shooting. He went full auto into Heimdall first of all, only did 1 damage but did get a couple of wilds for a bleed and a shock selected for those. And then he just fired his normal element guns, and that managed to do 1 more damage to Heimdall. So 2 in total with the 2 he's got on him, that's 4. So he's still standing. Now it would be Scourge's turn, but Thor isn't close enough to be contesting that back objective. He's safe from the gamma rays, but not for holding it for point purposes. So if Scourge wants to stay there to do that, he can't really do anything with his turn. He could move and then contest the middle, but it's still going to be a difference of 1 regardless, if no one scored that, but Rocket could also just walk onto it and take it. So he's just activating and unactivating back there. There's no good option. He'd have to somehow be able to get over there. He doesn't have the power to do Rainbow Bridge, so, and even if he did, he can't take out both Rocket and Star-Lord most likely. So it's not, actually, you know what, he does have enough power to do Rainbow Bridge. Maybe there is an option. We'll have a quick look and measure some stuff out. If not, we'll just be back with Rocket's turn. So just quickly looking at Scourge's options, Rainbow Bridge is a place within 3 which he could get roughly there-ish, but both them are healthy, so they'd still have advantage. He can't, his throw is terrain only, so he can't do that. From there he could move, but he'd have to double move to contest, and even then he would be out of actions to try and take out Rocket, so he had no good options. So Scourge is just staying there. Rocket activated, and we can just cover that now. He just turned, didn't even use his Winging token, kind of forgot. Fired into Heimdall twice. First one actually got fully blocked, but the second one got through for 2 damage, which is enough that Heimdall was actually dazed. It's all going wrong. It used to be back in the day, if you ran Guardians, this is how all their games went, because they were a bit rubbish. It's not even that they were so much better now, although they are better. It's just that the Asgardians have just had horrendous luck. So yeah, Heimdall is dazed, and that is the end of Battle Round 3. So then the Battle Round 3, things are still really rough for the Asgardians, losing 2 of their number. They've got 3 models left on the table. They almost held on to all of the Legacy Virus cures though. As it turns out, Enchantress dropped one when she died. But Thor still got 2, and that means they generated 2 victory points from that, and Scourge held their home Gamma Shelter for another, so they gained 3, taking them up to 6. The Guardians hold the other cure on, it's Ronin that has it, right? Yeah, Ronin has it for 1, they hold their back Gamma Shelter for 1, they hold the middle for 2, so they gained 4, taking them to 12. Another 4 will mean that they win. The Asgardians still have first activation as we go into Battle Round 4. If passes, if they want to use them, and a few people have quite a bit of power to play with, but it's not looking good. So as we start round 4, we can quickly look at who has Winging It tokens for the round. Rocket kept his, Ronin's been given 1, and Gamora has been given 1 to try and hold on over there on that end of the table. Well, Scourge got the round started good and proper by spending a total of 8 power across 2 the Executioners. The first one did 4 damage to Gamora and bled her. The second one did 3, and that is enough that the Guardians have finally suffered some losses because she's off the table. She did spend for martial prowess both times, so she was rolling 5 dice, and the second time he had a couple of rerolls because she had bleed applied to her, but all said and done, she still got taken out. And at the end of his turn he has 2 power left. He's playing Advanced R&D and giving 1 of each of those power to Thor and Heimdall. Well, Groot was slightly miffed and sitting on a lot of power after getting from full health to 0 last round, so he activated and did an I Am Groot on Heimdall. 8 dice physical, I think it was. Either way, has a medium throw and a stagger on it. The throw happens before damage, so he got chucked over here into the pumpkin for 1 damage. And the attack itself, despite him spending 2 on All-Seeing Eye for a couple of rerolls, did 6. So Heimdall also went from full health to dead, although he was on his dazed side, so he's off the table, meaning it's just down to Thor for them. I'm sure there's a way he can pull a win out somehow, we just have to find it, is all. So there was one play Thor could do that wouldn't win the day, but would at least save a lot of face and be one heck of a Hail Mary. I'm curious if anyone else spotted it. He activated, he was down here with Scourge. He did a 4 Asgard, which is only once per turn, sadly. If it was twice, it could have been even better. But that's a move followed by a strike, 6 dice physical. He moved behind Drax and Ronan, and he wanted to take out Ronan because Ronan is holding the other legacy cure. It includes a throw, so he chucked him against the wall, so his attack did 3, the wall hit did 1. There actually would have been another throw for the second hit, but it doesn't matter because it also did 3, meaning that by 1 extra health, Ronan did get dazed. Thor paid 1, picked up the final cure, he's holding all 3. You immediately gain 8 victory points and are KO'd. So he's gone. But they gained 8 victory points, taking them into the lead with 14 playing 12. That's them done for the turn though, and it's not going to be enough because the gain that the Guardians can get per turn surpasses Scourge getting 1, just for sitting there for 2 turns, especially because Drax could just go counter. Oh, but we'll do the Guardian moves and be back in a second. Yeah, so if we take a look at some of the moves here, Peter just moved from where he is, leaving Rocket and Groot to guard the back one. He's soul claiming the central one, and Drax can double move over here. He's still healthy as well, so that is now a 0 score for the Asgardians. It doesn't mean that the Guardians of the Galaxy win, technically. It would put them 1 away from winning, but it's not possible to stop them getting at least 1 or more than 1 in the final potential turn. As things stand at the moment, as I say, the 1 sole survivor for the Asgardians gains nothing. Because it's a draw over there. The Guardians gain 1 and 2 for 3, which takes them to 15. The cures disappear incidentally when they score like that, so they're just not on the table anymore. So we are just going to call it at the end of this round, even though technically no one has reached the 16. It'd be 15 playing 12, but Scourge can't pull this back enough to make them not score 1 point in the next turn. So the Asgardians got their you-know-what's kick there, and the Guardians win. So I did misspeak at the end there. The Asgardians are ending on 14, not 12, but the point still stands. Scourge will not be able to hold the central one to get the 2 points, and even if he could get to the 16 by doing that, or even getting 3 if he somehow managed to make it all the way over there with Rainbow Bridge or something, the Guardians can still gain more. Their maximum gain for the turn could potentially be 6. Their minimum gain would be either 5 or 3, depending on which 2 they could hold, because he's not going to do any fighting if he has to double move and use a tactics card to teleport. So the point still stands that the Guardians win regardless of what would happen in a theoretical turn 5, because Scourge can't be in enough places at once and do enough attacks with just his 2 actions plus potentially a tactics card, which I just realised he doesn't even have the power to use because he tapped himself fully to kill Gamora somewhat pointlessly. So it is the end of the game. The Guardians very comfortably won that. Hela was a massive, massive disappointment. That was an utter failure on her part. It was just 4 defense dice and they were just not doing her any good. Even once when she had backup from Heimdall with rerolls, they just were not coming up for her, and she died so quickly that not enough other people got dazed or KO'd so she could bring herself back to life. Sending her in was obviously a mistake based on what happened, but you'd think 6 health, 444 defense, they would have done better than that. But thanks luck. It happens. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to leave a like on the video, and if you want to show above and beyond support, consider becoming a channel member, pressing the thanks button, or taking a look at the Patreon. I appreciate the support. It's all reinvested in the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. It's for now.